Greetings everyone, Cibola Burn. Just finished the 4th book of The Expanse, and now I'm going to take a break from The Expanse and go somewhere else for a while, until after Halloween. What can I say about this book? The first 3 were all very sci-fi, space-oriented books. This one is more of it's a trope that they do in sci-fi sometimes. It's like a frontier, Wild West kind of a story, like a spaghetti western, but it takes place on a planet that humans are trying to colonize. If you've ever seen Firefly, it's kind of like that in some episodes, and the anime Trigun kind of does that, and there's some other like sci-fi shows I remember that kind of do that. But so if you remember the first 3-4 books, what I really like about how they do the characters in this is like they introduce new characters every book. Like you had in Caliban's War, Bobby and Avasarala were introduced. Bobby kind of became a shipmate of the Rocinante for a while. I think Avasarala kind of did too. And she was like the soldier, you know. She had like the armor, the Martian armor, and she was like a soldier, a gunner. That was her kind of job while she was there. She actually worked the guns. And then they had that Praxidonic mean guy. He was like a botanist, so he came there and he did some stuff with science. And then you got, who else? Wasn't there somebody else that kind of came aboard for a while? I think there was. But in this book, they are going to... So you got Earth, Mars, and the Belters still. They're all 3 factions. And they got all these 1,373 rings that take you to other solar systems where they know there's a habitable planet there because this alien civilization was looking for Earth-like planets. And like what they fucked up on was like they're scanning them all and they're trying to figure out if they're safe to colonize. They pick one, they go to it. It's not safe at all. And there's all these other 1,373 options, but they're like, this one's got a shitload of lithium, so it's worth a lot of money. But it's not if you go to these other places that might have the same amount of lithium. So there's no reason for anybody to be competing over this one stupid planet. And a lot of sci-fi, when they go to a new planet, they only go to one place on that whole planet. Like here, you can go to Japan, you go to America, you go to South America, Antarctica, you go to all kinds of places. But if you find a new planet, everybody has to go to that one spot on the planet. Like, why? So what they find out was the planet is not natural. There's no mountains because there's no tectonic plates. The surface of the planet has been machined into a sphere by these ancient aliens that are so powerful. Like, who could even do that? How do you terraform a planet? Like, make it into a sphere. Like a solid sheet of metal or something underneath all the dirt. I guess is how it's supposed to be. Like a solid metal, nickel, iron. Maybe they made it out of a giant bunch of asteroids they put together. I don't know how they would even do that. But they're not even the strong aliens, because there's this other alien race that wiped them out. So like, who the fuck are even these guys that wiped these motherfuckers out? There's no mountains on this planet. So there's this chain of islands that they figured out has a bunch of power stations. It used to be like a nuclear kind of a power plants that run the planet on the machinery and these ancient like robotic things that are supposed to be there to like mine maybe, but the lithium they said wasn't naturally there. It was there as a byproduct of what the mining they were doing. So what, I don't even know what even could have had that lithium was the byproduct of. But anyway, the book starts out with this guy Basia. He's one of the Belters that are there first. They colonize it. They got a bunch of little shanty town huts, really shitty. And then you got the Earthers have this corporation that's like an energy company. They want to come there and take the lithium. They think the colonists that are mining the lithium first are stealing it from us. They don't think they have a right to it. So they're not letting them ship out with all the lithium that they're loading it onto their ship. The Earth ship comes in. They're having this big fight. So then James Holden and his crew are sent there as mediators to try and like get them to stop fighting. Because what happens with the main guy Basia, he's with this group. They paid him to build this landing pad for him, and then him and the rebels say, no, we're going to blow that fucker up so they can't land. And as he's setting the bombs, the ship comes in early. So he blows up the ship, kills a bunch of people, like most of them died. So then the security guy on the ship is like super pissed off, and he's like the bad guy this whole time. Even though he's doing everything lawfully, he probably should have been killed very early on. I would have like murdered this fucker. He's an asshole. But when I say we're doing things by the book, I'm saying by Earth laws, which who would follow Earth laws if you're on a planet that's not even in the same solar system as Earth? What right do they have to come here and start making their laws? It's like England going around and colonizing all these countries, right? So, like if you have a charter, like who's going to obey a charter that's from Earth if you're just on another planet that's not Earth? It makes sense. I wouldn't follow that crap. So they get there, and they're going through all this stuff. Like the security guy starts killing people in the middle of the street, and he's like asserting his power. And James Holden's trying to like show how strong he is compared to James Holden, kind of. And he doesn't care what the mediator says. He's there to like do what he wants. And they're so far away, it takes like 3 years or something for like somebody from Earth to get there, because they have to fly all the way out to Neptune, go through the slow zone, and then go to the solar system and go to that planet. So it takes a while. But they can communicate with them. And kind of this whole, while they're fighting and stuff, all these bad things happen. Like the islands with the nuclear plants explodes, sends a big shock wave over the whole planet, and tidal wave comes in and it floods everything. And it just starts, crazy rainstorms and stuff start happening. And when that happens, these worms come out of the ground because of the floods. They didn't know were there. And the worms leave this, there's like slugs, and leave this slime behind them, and if you touch it, it kills you because it's a very powerful neurotoxin. And the clouds had this kind of green, kind of like chlorophyll based, but not really, because it's different planets. So everything's kind of like analogs of plants or analogs of fungi or animals. It's not real like carbon based, but it's kind of carbon based. It's like just slightly different. So they have these single-celled organisms in the clouds that kind of, when the rain gets in your eyeballs, it's like a really good habitat for them. So they start multiplying. And it's not like a virus. It's not attacking you or anything. They just like being in your eyeball and your vitreous fluid or humor or whatever. So like your vision starts turning green, and then it's just like you can't see anything because everything's so fucking green. So you're blind. You're blind while dangerous, deadly slugs are crawling around and everything, trying to find dry spots because everything's flooded, and you're trying to stay in the dry spots because you're human. So everywhere you're at, the slugs are coming to you, and they're trying to climb over all your little plasticky sheets and your tents and everything. There's like no way to keep them out because you can't see. Now everybody's blind. So it's pretty fucked. And there's storms going on the whole time. And so Holden, since he got irradiated back on Eros, he's taking these cancer meds. And the cancer meds keep the whatever from multiplying in your eyeballs. So he's the only one that can see. Takes them a while to figure that out. So then once they do, they start giving out cancer meds, and then they're fine. But they still got all these worms and all these problems, and like there's this whole deal with they're trying to weaponize a shuttle up in space because the Rocinante's still up there in space with like Naomi and Alex and Basia at one point. They take him prisoner, so he's up there. He's kind of becomes their crew member, like I'm talking about. So he's like a vacuum welder, so that's kind of his job. Like everybody has like roles, kind of like an RPG, a class-based system. They're actually making a game based on The Expanse. It's one of those Telltale games, like Walking Dead. That's probably going to be pretty good. So he's out there helping them fix their ship up, and then Naomi has to go sabotage this bomb that they're making into this shuttle. They're trying to like bomb them and stuff. She gets captured, and then they're training the security crew to like, they're all engineers, but they're training them to be like fighters. So they're all like gung-ho with guns and shit, and they want to go to battle and stuff, and then they just suck. So then the guy, Havelock, I was telling you about in the last video, he was Miller's partner back on Eros, or Ceres, right? So he is like the head of security, and he's kind of training them all, but then he switches sides because he sees how evil they are, and he comes over to the Rocinante, and he's like one of their members for a while. So they have like, what happens when the something caused all the fusion reactors to stop working? I think when the thing blew up, or something did. So they're in like another one of those limits that the aliens have put on them. That the alien stuff just kind of happens because it's left over. It's not like consciously doing it. But if it sees things as a threat, it'll just like shut it down. It can kind of control physics. So Holden has to go and undo that, turn it off, because there's just one thing. Like Miller is still kind of in his brain because there's a piece of that protomolecule on the ship, Rocinante, and it's kind of like using it as a Wi-Fi. And he has to go find that at the end and like torch it because it's driving him crazy. And Miller, he kind of takes control of this other robot, and he kind of becomes sentient for a while. And he like follows Holden on this train tunnel that goes down to where this dark. It's like a bullet that the really powerful aliens kill the other aliens with. So once he can connect to that, he shuts down the whole network because it kills networks. And that shuts down all of the stuff that's limiting the fusion reactor. So then everything that's like falling out of the sky, it lets them have to use the fusion reactors again, and they don't have to die. Although the one ship, the colonist ship, does fall into orbit and die, but they evacuate them out on airlocks that are welded together. It made like a big chain of bubbles and kind of sucked them all out. And there's some grappling hook action. It was pretty cool. And so then at the very end of the book, Avasarala and Bobby kind of hint around for the next book. So they're going to be back, I think. But still, no drama. Camina Drama. I thought her name was Drama the whole time I was watching the first time I watched the series. Her name is Drummer, but the way they talk like a half Portuguese, half Spanish, half Mexican, Spanish, and half French or German. They use like a lot of different words. It's all like a mishmash, which that makes sense in a sci-fi story if you're going to have people that are colonizing the asteroid belt or another planet. A lot of them would be Brazilians because Brazil has like the largest population, or Indian or Brazilian probably be like your most populous people living out in the asteroid belt. Also, I forgot to mention in the last book, there was a thing about when Bobby was on Earth, the people that live on Earth, that are on that, what do you call it? Basic assistance? Yeah. Those people that they want to work, they want to have jobs, but there's just not enough jobs for them because in the future, all the jobs get filled, and like overpopulation, I guess, just means that they're not like lazy. But if you have like 1,373 new possible worlds to go to, and then everybody's needing jobs, that's perfect. You got all these extra people, depopulate Earth, send them all out there and do stuff. It's a good situation. Anyway, I give it a 5 stars. It's not really my cup of tea, the frontier kind of spacey spaghetti western kind of thing, but I liked it anyway. It's a good book. And then I went to the library. The Way of Kings. I have it finally in my possession. So I'm going to start reading this weekend. Let's see, it is, it's like 1,000 pages. I thought it was like 1,200. Yeah, it's right at 1,001 pages. That's not too bad. I've been trying to read 100 pages a day, which is pretty easy. Sometimes I'll read 150 or 200 pages. Sometimes I might read 50 or 75, but like, I watched this one video. I should probably show you guys it. The guy had like a really thick book, Count of Monte Cristo. Did I already talk about this? He says if you read 10 pages a day, you can read Count of Monte Cristo like 4 times in a year and a whole other stack of books. Because that's like 3,650 pages. 10 books a day. If you read, or 10 pages a day. If you read 100 pages a day, that's 36,500 pages you could read in a year. And I'm reading about average stat, yeah. So if I can keep that up, that's like 2 or 3 stacks of books. Which I've got so many books now that it's ridiculous. I'm trying to wonder if I can get them all read before I die. I think that is. We could use this as, what was that movie where the guy got his arm out of the socket, whatever, and then used like War and Peace to like pull his arm down into the socket. So then went to my mom's Tuesday, and we went to a bookstore up there. Ah, shit. My remote. And I got some books that were really cheap. I got one called Burn In, P.W. Singer and August Cole. It says, a novel of the real robotic revolution. And there's a quote on the back by Daniel H. Wilson. He's the guy who wrote Robopocalypse, which I have read. He was also on Joe Rogan for a while, or an episode. America's on the brink of a revolution, technical and political. Science fiction of AI and robotics has finally come true, but millions are angry and fearful that the future has left them behind. After narrowly stopping a bombing at Washington's Union Station, FBI Assistant Special Agent Laura Keegan received a new assignment to field test an advanced police robot. Oh. I'm not really a big fan of police. So it's like Robocop then. Okay. I mean, it was like $4, so can't go wrong with that. And then I got, my mom actually paid for these because she likes to do stuff for me. Neil Stephenson, Fall. I've seen this on a lot of people's bookshelves. I didn't know what Neil Stephenson was about. It was a quote back by Lev Grossman from The Magicians. Pretty cool. This says, in his youth, Richard Dodge Forthrest founded Corporation 9592, a gaming company that made him a multi-billionaire. I mean, I was sold on that already. The guy who made a gaming company. His middle years, he comfort unencumbered life, blah, blah, blah. Young daughter Sophia, beautiful day, gonna go through routine medical procedure, something goes irrevocably wrong. I just pronounced brain dead and put on life support, leaving a stunned family and close friends with difficult decisions. Brain dead. No one knows whether a simulated brain will be the same when it's rebooted or if something will be lost, an ineffable spirit that cannot be recreated in computer code. External afterlife called Bitworld. That sounds like Sword Art Online or something. There's a cool picture of a demon in the front, like the devil. That's nice. Is there illustrations? I think I'm really going. Oh, there's even a map on the back. What is this? I thought this is a fantasy novel. The land. Oh, this is probably the map of the. Oh wait, this. Somebody said they had like a. Who was it? Robert Hobb or somebody that it's like a fantasy author that the map the world that it's based on is like Alaska upside down. You ever heard that? This looks like Alaska. Kind of. With a big turd in the middle. Stormland. Okay. So and then they had this book. That one was $5. This one, $3. Tad Williams, The Green Angel Tower. So, Tad Williams, I think a lot of people recommended to me, saying I would like him. Writes fantasy. There are a few illustrations in here. What's this? There's a little map. There's a little map. There's a lot of maps in here. Is there a map in front? Yep, there's a big map of the world in the front. That's got to be a good something. Good sign. There's like a thing in the back that kind of explains a language to you. Oh shit, it's going to be hard to read. I feel like everything's multiple languages. I'm still learning High Valyrian. I can't be learning new languages. That's on top of the 6 English languages I'm trying to learn. Human languages. Alright, so that's Cibola Burn. And I've got a lot of literature stacked up. Also, when I was at my mom and dad's, we went to the Paranormal Museum in Somerset, Kentucky. That is where Kyle Cadell and Nathan Isaacs were in the Hellier show. We keep telling everybody about Hellier, but nobody watches it. Finally got my mom and dad to watch season 1 and part of season 2. Went up there and met Kyle Cadell. I took some photos, so if you're friends with me on Facebook, I'll be posting those later. They had this like mannequin that's supposed to like moved around whenever it was on display on its own. They had like a Halloween room. They had a whole bunch of Hellier stuff. They had like Bigfoot room. They had a crap load of stuff. They had a bell thing that you're supposed to like do psychic stuff with. I didn't really look at it that closely though. Haunted robes. Like one was like a whatchamacallit? Freemasons or something used it for some of this weird club. I don't remember. It's kind of weird. Bunch of haunted shit up there. I probably brought back a demon with me, but I don't know. Nice to do some spooky spooks when it's getting almost Halloween times. And once I finish Way of Kings, probably 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. It ain't gonna take me that long. Once I read that, I might try to read Warbreaker before October or the second half of September. And then I'm going to get into Probably the Stephen King's that I haven't read. Like Skeleton Crew. Is that supposed to be about skeletons? Or is that about like a crew of a ship or something that's like short-handed? And they're just like, it's people working in a restaurant. Nobody's coming in because it's COVID. That'd be crazy. It sounds spooky. But maybe I'll read Salem's Lot. That's supposed to be about vampires. I mean, something Halloween-y. And then I'm going to read Carrie Mora by Thomas Harris, the guy who wrote the Hannibal Lecter series. That sounds like it could be spooky spooks. I think that one's about, like, there's gold in somebody's house that they bought, and the people are trying to steal the gold, so they break in and they try to kill them or something. Sounds awesome. So I'll see you guys later.